They say a person's greatness is really just determined by their thoughts. It sounds simple, right? But what does that actually look like when you put it into practice? Well, we're about to jump into a story that shows you exactly what that means.
And it kind of brings up a big question, doesn't it? If our thoughts are so powerful, why do so many of us find it so hard to succeed? Is it that we're just not thinking about our future the right way, or maybe we just can't see the potential we have inside us? Let's unpack that.
It really all boils down to this one idea, put perfectly by Napoleon Hill. What you think about, you become. Just keep that quote in the back of your mind because it's the tiny spark that's about to start a huge fire in the story we're telling today. Okay, so our story kicks off in a pretty ordinary place, a really busy railway station. And there, we meet our main character, a beggar, who gets by day in and day out just by asking people for spare change. His entire life is basically defined by asking and waiting. So one day, he spots this really well-dressed businessman, expensive suit, confident walk, and the beggar thinks to himself, wow, this guy has got to be rich. He's definitely going to give me something good. So full of hope, he goes up to the businessman and holds out his hand. But instead of a coin, he gets a question, a totally out-of-the-blue, reality-bending question. The businessman just looks at him and asks, have you ever given anything to anyone? The beggar he's completely floored. Nobody's ever asked him that before. And his reply is just pure instinct, right? It's born from years of seeing himself in one way. He says, sir, I'm just a beggar. I have nothing to give to anyone. That one sentence tells you everything about how he sees himself. And right there, that's where the lesson starts. The businessman lays out this powerful idea. If you believe you have nothing to give, then you also have no right to ask for anything. He explains that he's a believer in exchange, not just charity. And with that, he gets on his train, leaving the beggar standing there with those words just ringing in his ears.
Now, this wasn't just some weird conversation for him. It was like a bomb went off in his mind. He just could not shake what the businessman said. And for the very first time, he started to question, everything about his life.
For 2 whole days, that one idea just echoed in his head. He didn't even beg. He just sat and thought. If you want to receive, you must first give. And then it hit him. Maybe this is why people never gave him much, because he never offered anything back. So you can see this huge conflict playing out in his mind, right? On one side, you have the beggar mindset, which is all about surviving by asking, by taking. And on the other, you have this new businessman mindset, where success is all about exchange. He was literally stuck between 2 completely different ways of looking at the world. Then, on the 3rd day, something starts to shift. He's just sitting at the station, not begging, just watching the world go by. And that's when he sees it. This little patch of beautiful wildflowers growing near the tracks, and an idea just sparks. What if he had something to offer in return? So he decides to actually do it. He comes up with a super simple 3-step plan. First, he plucks a bunch of flowers. Second, he asks for money just like he always did. But now, and this is the key, when someone gives him a coin, he smiles and gives them a flower in return. It's such a tiny change, but it's about to change absolutely everything. And the results of this little experiment, they were instant, and they were huge. This wasn't just a new trick to get more money, it was the beginning of a whole new identity. Almost immediately, he noticed a really clear pattern. Whenever he had flowers to give away, people gave him money, and they gave generously. But the second he ran out of flowers for the day, the donations just dried up. It was proof, right there in his hands, that people respond when they feel like they're getting something of value. Then one day, he sees him again. The same businessman getting on the train. He excitedly runs over and makes him a deal. If you give me money, I'll give you a flower in return. And the businessman smiles, buys a flower, and says the words that just cement this whole transformation. Today, you are no longer just a beggar. You have become a businessman. Wow, that one sentence lit a fire inside him. He had this powerful realization, he wasn't a beggar anymore. People weren't giving him money out of pity. They were paying him for a product. His flowers. He was a trader. And this new definition, it meant everything. A trader isn't passive. A trader is an active person who buys and sells. He had gone from just being a recipient to being a creator of value. And with that new identity firmly in place, he made a huge decision. He walked away from the railway station and never looked back. All right, so let's fast forward 6 months. We're heading back to that same railway station because you have to see the incredible long-term impact of this one shift in mindset. I mean, the speed of this change is just incredible when you lay it out. It starts with a challenge, then an idea, then a new system of exchange, and boom, just 6 months later, he has a completely new life. And it all started with changing a single thought.
And here it is, the final scene. Two men, both dressed in smart business clothes, meet at the station and shake hands. One of them is the businessman from the beginning of our story. And the other? Well, he is almost unrecognizable. It's our former beggar, now a successful flower wholesaler, traveling to grow his business. The businessman asks him what changed, and the flower seller shares the ultimate lesson he learned. He says, "You taught me we only get when we give. That day I realized I was a businessman all along. I just had to see myself that way." You see, the potential was always in him. It was just locked away behind how he saw himself. So this amazing story really leaves us with 3 huge takeaways. First, your perception literally creates your reality. Second, true success is built on giving value, not just taking. And third, and this might be the most important one, every single one of us has something valuable to offer the world. It all comes back to a simple, but really powerful truth. The only limits that really exist are the ones we put on ourselves. The moment you start to change your thoughts and see your own potential, your future can't help but change too.
And so that leaves us with one final, really important question for you to think about. What's the value that you have inside you? What's your flower that you have to offer the world?